Well, hello beautiful people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. I'm currently in the middle of a path by the sea, so we'll see how we get on. I'm constantly like, ooh. But look, we have the ocean. Today's a beautiful day in the UK. So this report is for Wednesday the 2nd of June 2021. And it's a really beautifully significant Wavespell coming up for me personally because it's my birth Wavespell. And the energy that we're moving into is the energy of white dog. Now, just a side note before we get started to say this time on the planet is intense, and if you're having a hard time, you're not on your own. It feels like we've all been really journeying. Essentially, I know that we're always journeying, but especially of late there has been such a underworld initiation and this like real roller coaster, you know, of like 1 minute we are flying high, the next minute we're on our knees again, and the thing that really wants to be shared within that is exactly as it's meant to be. You know, we're anchoring new frequencies within our individual lives, within our beings, within the planet. So there is like the adjustment period, so we're really all being held within that. So the Wavespell, white doggy, it's a white sign. So white signs are all about refinement, they're all about getting clear, bringing things into focus. And white dog is about the heart, it's about relationships, it's about unconditional love, it's about loyalty. And within every archetype there is the shadow and there is the light, and white dog for me is very much about all of the conditions that we've put upon love, you know, in its shadow aspect. And the beauty of this dimension and this realm is that we have to go through the shadow aspect to reach the flip side. You know, we've got to do the initiation of, oh, this is the opposite of the good stuff in order to get to the good stuff. It's like this beautiful process of, yeah, initiation. Like for me, this entire reality and realm is about initiation. And within white dog, as I say, it's really about relationship. And we were all born from trauma, you know, we're all traumatized people, and these like trauma processing techniques that are quite commonplace now within certain communities and scenarios, but the notion of being able to do inner tweaking, you know, we've kind of got that in a very mainstream model way and also in alternative community way now, and that's quite a new thing. You know, it wasn't as if after the world wars people came home and it was like, right, it's now time for therapy, off you go. It has been a very different process, hasn't it? You know, people came back from the war and they just got back into their lives. So we've got this like huge collective unprocessed trauma, and that's like one of the traumatic events of the past 100 years. You know, there's many, many, many more than that. So now we're kind of coming to a place of, okay, we can process these things, but the reality is we have been born into a very corrupted world. I'm just going to move that little piece of grass. And that has affected our relationships, because when we're traumatized, which we all are, it affects the ways in which we relate to one another, because we're processing everything through traumatic lens all the time. So it's like, this is the reality of what's going on, but this is what I'm seeing through in order to attempt to understand the experience. So what I'm trying to say within that essentially is that, you know, our families, as much as a general rule, they love us and we love them, the dynamics within our families created imprints, and the dynamics were created by imprints. So that has affected our ways of relating to one another. And the white dog process really is about beginning to soften into redefining loving relationship and what loving relationship looks like. For me, there's been a huge process of late in recognising, especially with my grandparents, who are my mum's parents, seeing our family patterns just clearer and clearer because I'm spending so much time with them. And you know, one of the big conditions upon love that really comes through that part of my family is about being good, you know, and all these different definitions around what it means to be good. So we've got this like really magical process. I'm just keeping my eye out because there's a few people I think that are going to be coming on the path, so I might have to, oh no, it's okay. To revert back to where we were. Yes, so I've been really recognising that a big thing within our family line is about being good. That's one of the conditions that was placed upon being loved. And therefore, for me, there's been this very strong code running all the time within all of the different relationships that I've had, be they friendship or intimate, around being good. Not that my friendships aren't intimate, but you know what I mean. And the good thing is defined completely differently in every single one of those relationships, but it has been the unconscious driver because I believed at a very core level that in order to be loved, in order to do loving relationship, I have to be good. So that then led to a lot of people pleasing, and that then led to a lot of resentment, and that then led to a load of explosions, because it'd be like, be good, you know, be pleasing, and then all of a sudden like, I can't take it anymore, bam, huge explosion, and generally speaking, end of relationship, which isn't the way that it has to be, and I'm really journeying that at the moment. So what were the conditions put upon love within your family? What were the conditions put upon, this is how we do relationship, and this is how you give and receive love? You know, take some time within this Wavespell, within these 13 days, to ponder upon and get clear about what the rules were in your family dynamic. And then from there, plot your relationships. Witness how those beliefs and those experiences have essentially damaged the way that you relate. You know, because being good, you know, being kind and being loving is something that is a natural part of us. So there's a positive side to it, but equally, when it's coming from fear, if I don't do this, then something bad's going to happen, that's the distortion. So when we are able to really examine the codes of conditioning, these layers of rules that our subconscious mind sucked in and then began to operate through, only then are we able... Whoop, I've got some company. Sorry guys. Sorry. And that's where it all begins. Oh, yes. So only when we can see, like, what did our mums and dads, or caregivers, or teachers, or siblings say that we had to do in order to be loved? You know, what were the rules? Only when we can highlight and really see them can we begin to dismantle them to really come into a heart space. You know, and it might not be universal truth, but for me, I really feel and believe that only when, you know, we can meditate and we can come into a heart space and we can all be really open-hearted, we can be on the dance floor and we can be moving together and we can be loving one another and it can be feeling amazing, and then you come off the dance floor, you come out of the ceremony, you come out of the room and some knobhead cuts you up on the road. All goes out the bloody window then, doesn't it? Or it comes into your relationship and they've not done the bloody washing up again. What is going on? you know?
Sorry.
So it's this really, sorry my love, so it's this really important piece around, in order to really be able to get into a loving relationship and anchor that vibration and that way of being, which is essentially heart relating, open-hearted relating. Our heart has to know that it's safe to be us without conditions upon it. And the only way, from my perspective, and I say this again, it might not be universal truth, but it seemed to be truth within my personal reality. The only way that we can get to that and anchor it is by taking off the old beliefs, taking off the old restrictions, all these walls that were built around our hearts due to our own personal experiences of trauma, you know, the dots that we joined, like, oh my gosh, that happened, so therefore I must do this or I mustn't do that. All the things that have been imprinted on an ancestral level or on a cultural level, it's our job to dismantle them so that we can really find that way of relating. Now, the other thing of White Dog, just to briefly mention, is that White Dog is also about our soulmates, our companions of destiny, and this time, we're having all the bloody distractions today, aren't we? Come on, Jyoti, film a fucking video, not in the middle of nowhere with low battery on your phone. Anyway, so the other thing is to really be open to meeting soulmates this Wavespell, because that is the other side of White Dog. You know, it's like, we are one massive pack, we are one massive tribe, and we find each other, you know, and the other piece, the less domesticated we are, the less... I was noticing the other day, like, some kids and then some dog walkers, and like the ways that people were speaking to the kids and the dog, it was exactly the same thing, and it was just domestication, you know, the rules to be straight, the wilder we are, the more we find our people, the more we can be in the synchronistic flow. You know, the synchronistic flow and a really hardcore routine don't tend to synchronize so well. So be wild, figure out the messy aspects of the way that you do relationship, figure out the messy ways that you do relationship, and figure out where they come from. Send yourself and everybody involved loads and loads of love, because it's only ever been a cry for love, but just with some dodgy wiring. Fix the wiring and be open to meeting your companions of destiny. Now, it's my Mayan birthday on the 12th day of this Wavespell, Red Crystal Dragon, and I'm going to be making a very special announcement on that day. So if you're on my mailing list, expect to have a little hola from me again, and if you're on Facebook, keep an eye on my page and come and join Milky Waves, amazing new community that's now being reboosted and rejigged and sparkling, that's all for starseeds and working with the Galactic Mayan calendar. So come find me there, keep an eye on your inbox, and expect to hear a very exciting announcement in just 12 days. Alright, darling ones, sending you so much love always, and blessings from the ocean.